I'm going to throw together a short video here it's going to be part 2 of the 1066 tractor series, and I'm going to probably publish this midweek or the beginning of the week, and probably have 2 videos this week. But the reason why I'm kind of publishing it is because I was able to get that second wheel off, and I can't tell you how long it's taken me, and kind of how thrilled I am to get the damn thing off of the tractor. So I just wanted to get this out, publish this, because it's just going to be a little blurb about getting that wheel off and explaining to you the problems of getting that wheel off. So here we go. Okay, so I started shooting a video yesterday and got interrupted by somebody coming in. What happened is I got the second tire off. I guess just persistence paid off in doing it. I guess if you did this for a living, you would just keep torquing that bolt until something gave. Probably it broke or something else, or it just gave out. I really didn't, I'm not sure how available those bolts are, so I really didn't want to try and break it. So is probably you've seen in another video, I've explained it in another video, I just keep working at this thing. Every once in a while I'll go over there and pull on the wrench and you know, see if it breaks free. And it's been going on and on for a couple of months. Now there's times when there's weeks go by where I didn't do anything on it. But yesterday I came over and I had loosened it up actually probably a week ago. I loosened it up, and then yesterday I went over and I put that 4-foot breaker bar on it and tightened it back up, and it just felt a little different. So I pulled on that 4-foot breaker bar and I got it over, and it felt different. It just felt totally different. So I put a pull pipe onto the breaker bar, and let me show you what I had. So I actually had this breaker bar. It's a 3/4 inch breaker bar. Maybe it's not 4 feet long, 3 feet long. And then I had this pull pipe on it, which is probably close to 7 feet long. And it flexed this breaker bar. It was flexing. I didn't bend it, but it flexed. And it finally just gave. It kind of at first, when it happened, it kind of snapped. And I actually had thought that I had broken the bolt on it, but it turned out it wasn't a broken bolt, that it actually had let go. So that breaker bar is 4 feet long, because that toolbox is 4 feet long, and it just fits across the top of it. But anyways, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to the tire's up in the air, as you can see. It's being held on the gantry crane. But anyways, I'm going to go get the pallet that I have to hold the tires and bring it over here and get that tire put on there. So I'll bring it right back. I'm going to shoot a little video here of these wedges, so you explain, or it gets explained in detail of how they work. The axle sticks through here. There's a protrusion on the axle that fits into this slot. And these wedges go The wedges go in here like that. So what happens is that there's a taper in the hub, and as the wedges go in against the axle, it compresses these wedges in there, which are also tapered. This one's on backwards, but which are also tapered. But what it does is it compresses that wedge in between the hub and the axle. Now, taking them out, it says in the manual that you're supposed to just be able to take this tool, this Torx bolt, and unloosen it. Now there is these wedge removal tools. What happens is you untorque this thing, and one of the wedges will eventually break free. And as it does, the wedge gets pushed out. So what you do is there's another one of these that fits on the other side, and it bolts together, and you compress these things, these tools, on each side, and then continue to unloosen this wedge bolt. And theoretically, what it's supposed to do is bring that wedge that's coming out against the tool and compress it and force the other wedge back. Well, that sounds great in theory, but on an old tractor it doesn't work. So what happened is that, I just lost that in there. What happened was that wedge will come out and you can't get the other one to move. So what you have to do is take it and force that wedge out, compress it against the wedge removing tool, take a sledgehammer and beat on that tool and shock that second wedge free. Now, what happened is on the driver's side tire, or on the left-hand tire, the outer wedge is the one that came out. And you could put the wedge removal tool around it, and I could have free access to beat it with a sledgehammer and break it free, even though it took quite a while of me working on it to get it to loosen up. I got that one off pretty easily. The right side tire, the wedge that broke free was the inner wedge. And when you compress it in there, between the wedge removal tool, you have no room to swing a hammer in there to try and shock it. So that's why I was having so much trouble on it, with it, is because I had no way of being able to beat against the wedge that stood proud to shock the other wedge loose. So what I ended up actually doing was taking that wedge that was free on the inside, putting a big piece of plate steel against it, and then forcing another piece of steel back into the axle housing of the transmission so that it would hold it in place. And then just try and keep loosening this nut and trying to drive it against it to get it to pop free. And that's why I had so much trouble with it. So that's the explanation of it. This tool isn't the tool I use. This is actually the tool that I built. Tool was wedge removal tool. Was supposed to come with every tractor, and it probably did come with every tractor, except it wasn't with this tractor when I got it. So I ended up borrowing one from somebody, and then took and copied it and built one for myself. So that's the deal with the wedges on the tractor. I just wanted to shoot a little shot of having moved that over there. Can't tell you how happy I am to get that thing off. Yep, they were heavy.